Cassian's the channel editor for BBC4, and he's got a really difficult task because BBC's facing a lot of cuts, we know that. And he's had to try and make sure that his content is still cutting edge, original, on a much lower budget. And what I found fascinating about him was we ran through a kind of technique with him, and he came up with the uniqueness of BBC4 is that it's the place you can go to where you think you know stuff and then you discover this whole secret world behind it. But it's probably the only place left that you get that narrative told to you. You don't have to go and find it for yourself. And this was him talking about his vision for BBC4, and I'll talk a little bit about the outcomes from that.
I think it's really important if you end up in a position like I am, where you're running a channel, is that what you want to be able to do is communicate a really bold, clear, simple idea and vision for what it is that you want to do. And for BBC4, the kind of term that I came up with was the secret garden. And it's an expression I really like because it's something that's really inviting. It's something that everybody's kind of familiar with. We've all read the children's book, but what it does is it promises a world of secrecy, of secret pleasures, of things that are really rich, of something really delightful, something really pleasurable. And I think that's absolutely what BBC4 is about. But the other important thing about having that kind of simple statement, the idea of a secret garden, is that what it also does is it gives people a narrative, it gives people a story, it gives people something that they can work with, that they can use themselves to develop and create their own ideas. And I think that's really important. You don't want, when you have a vision, to make it something that feels exclusive. You want it to be something that other people can join in with and that they can make their own as well.
What is really interesting about what Cassian said, and he had all the data at his fingertips. You know, he had the data. He knew what was the uniqueness of BBC4. And he created that vision, that end goal, where we're going to get to out of that. But he made sure, and that's another key thing, that it's not just for him, that you can share that, and I, as a creative person, know what to do with it. So when you're creating your visions, it's about making sure that the other person can do it. So for Doctor Who, we came up with the Everyday Hero for its global vision. And that means that all the different partners that we are working with, so when we talk about partnerships, they know what they can and they can't do in terms of comms, in terms of marketing, in terms of where you take the storyline, in terms of who you're targeting. So it can hold, it's the glue that holds that purpose together. So it's very, very powerful. In terms of what he did with it, you know, Slow TV, you know, that he did the Nuclear Secrets that was very successful on BBC4. And he's quite funny. He gave his idents to abstract artists and said, you do something with this. And now the other channels want to do that too. He's given it freshness on a very, very low budget, which is very interesting. I promised you some neuroscience. You are scientists. I'm a scientist. I always go back to my background in terms of thinking what's out there. Did you know there's no such thing as a left and right brain? So, interesting, isn't it? There are instead three large networks at play. You've got the executive attention network, you've got the imagination network, and you've got the salience network. And actually what we have found is that by creating that singular vision, that place where I, as a creative person, can switch off my prefrontal cortex, because do you know where ideas come from? Do you know? They come from here, from behind, just here, behind your right ear, basically. So the problem with it is the people that are really creative and can switch this bit on, I think it's called the right temporal lobe, is the way they do it is by switching the prefrontal cortex off. Now, we are very logical, I love data, I love reading lots of data, and we like to give that because it's a gift, isn't it? It's like, look, I've looked at all this data and I've discovered this. The trouble is that makes this bit switch on. So your creative people can't come up with ideas because this bit's working too hard. So you need to switch this bit off and access here, and the way to do that is through salience, the yellow network. So you need to make sure that your vision either makes people feel something, resonates with them, does something. Otherwise, they can't come up with ideas. So it doesn't matter how good your piece of work is, they can't come up with ideas.